All right,
Yay!
Michelle, you got the earbuds, no
And
more feedback,
yeah.
and hopefully
And listen,
you don't
everyone, I
freeze
just
on us.
want you all to know that the way that I live today is breathing through whatever resistances. Everything's always perfect. Everything's okay. So Lewis got to share more. And everything, we could just be grateful right now that we're here, which I am so grateful that I was allowed in. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was telling everyone how we were at the Mana Festival yesterday, and the keynote speaker was Kevin Walton from Creatorhood, Source Radiance on Instagram, if you guys have never heard of Kevin Walton before. And he said how every opportunity is an opportunity for us to step into our lives more fully. And everywhere we are, every situation in our lives is just getting us to do that. And so maybe I needed to give a longer presentation, or maybe I needed to give a little bit longer of an intro today on this healing talk, which is something that I don't often do. I usually just introduce the speaker and then I hand it over to them and just let them talk. And so maybe today this was an opportunity for me to express
Aw.
my gratitude for you and how we met, and get to share a little bit more about the Tantra Tide Release Retreat that we're going to be doing on the 2nd of April, which I'm
Me
very,
too.
very, very, very excited about again. And so that's pretty much it. I think everyone here has either met you before or has heard me rave about you in the past. And today specifically, I want to talk about self-love, which is a topic that I've been diving deep into. The Soul Tribe is going to be starting soon, and the first week of the Soul Tribe is all about self-love. So I've been really going over my self-love practices.
Yes, I
And you did the
loved it.
Soul Tribe last year, and we all dubbed you the self-love queen. You are a master of self-love, and so I would love for you to talk about that and why that's
Yeah.
so important for us, Michelle, on our path to healing and just on a daily basis. Why it's so important for us to put ourselves in first place, because we talk about it so much, self-love. Some people don't know what that really means. Some people think it might be selfish, or some people are like, yeah, I'm meditating for a couple of minutes every day. I'm buying organic food. I guess I'm showing myself some love, but I mean, you can go way, way deeper than that, and hopefully tell us the importance of that. And then also talk
Yeah.
about womb healing. I learned about what a
Oh,
womb
yeah.
wound is, and I know that you do a yoni
This
retreat,
Friday.
and you
Yeah.
do
Every
techniques. You
month.
show
Yeah.
women, yeah, you show women how to, yeah, and you show women how to heal their womb, and release some of that trauma and
Yeah.
whatever's inside of them that has not allowed them to step into their life
Yeah.
fully, like Kevin
I
was saying
love Kevin.
yesterday at the
Yeah,
Mana
he's awesome.
Festival.
He created
So
Creatorhood, and it's an 8-week program. And just want to do a shout out for Kevin because I took his Creatorhood program, the 8-week, 3 times. It's intense. And I took his Creatorhood 2 once, and he has a Creatorhood 3. And I learned a lot about loving myself from Kevin because he says something really powerful. He says, love doesn't give a shit. And I love how he uses other terms, that most people don't use. He's like, love just loves. And if we think about that, what if I could just love all the parts of myself that I have not yet accepted? And so for me, I feel today the word for love is really self-acceptance. But even loving and accepting your parts that you are struggling with accepting, that's love. It's easy to love people and everything's so great. We love each other, but then when our shit shows up, our triggers, it's never about the partner. It's never about the person that you're with. And so I can't love a person if I haven't released and processed all the self-hatred or all the lack of self-acceptance in myself, or if I did have something happen to me in my womb with a man in the past, and then I meet an amazing conscious man, which I probably won't unless I am that conscious woman. So I just have to make another side note of that. So women that have had abortions, I
wow.
work with women that have had STDs, especially like herpes 2. There's a lot of ignorance with herpes 2 that people don't really understand. I mean, I don't want to say that it's not so serious, but really you're not going to die from herpes too. So some people feel as though they're never going to be able to meet someone because they got herpes too. And so it's just a virus. It's just a virus. And you know, reach out to me for the people that have had different things growing in there, that you may have had some type of a trauma or stigmatized yourself, that you're scared to even date or go into anything remotely with a romance, because it's so sad to me how people just think of these things as bad. The way I look at it, and Kevin also reinforces this, that everything is a sacred opportunity. Everything that is happening for us to grow, to thrive, and that's love. So wherever there's love, there's always going to be growth. There's always going to be expansion, and that's what Tantra teaches us also. And so like in our friendship, Louis, when I met you, I definitely feel that there's this kindred past life thing going on. And of course, I mean, people are like, yeah, I would have a past life with him too. He's so hot, you know? I have all these friends that the ladies, but it's so beautiful how, why not have friends that are beautiful in many different ways? What's wrong with that? You know, it's interesting how people judge, or people look at people like you can't be friends with a certain person. So when you love, that means that you have loved yourself and you've cultivated your own garden within yourself. And so it's really important for us, I feel, if you really want to love people, don't focus on the people. Focus on cultivating your garden of love and allowing all those things that get in the way of you loving yourself more to come up to the surface. So feeling the truth, feeling what's really there. And that's what the Alva method is based on, the science of love, understanding what does it really mean to love. And thankfully we have a love hormone. And so if we look at science, science can direct us to love deeper. And so a lot of the ways to love, it's really amazing. Eye gazing. Eye gazing promotes the stimulation of oxytocin. And so what I've done is, years ago, I took a course in primal health. I have a background in physical therapy, and I took a class on how to help women bond with their babies more through the art of infant massage. So I became an infant massage instructor. I was working in pediatrics as a physical therapist. Then there was this conference on primal health. They were talking about the importance of how a pregnant woman is during her pregnancy and how that affects the baby when the baby is an adult at age 40 to 60, and how we can actually help activate healthy gene expression by nurturing our babies, nurturing ourselves during our pregnancy. So self-nurturance is really important for self-love practices, and to say it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that you lied to yourself. It's okay that you were in that relationship for 10 years too long. It's okay that somebody didn't love you back. It's okay. And so this is really important. Self-acceptance, acceptance of whatever has happened, and then letting those emotions come up. So being vulnerable. A lot of love is being vulnerable. And I've had amazing Thai bodywork sessions with Louis in the beginning when I was in a place. It's interesting how I met you in a time where I wanted to manifest male friendships. People that would be my friends, where it wasn't a sexual thing or there weren't any blurred lines, but there was this friendship. And it's amazing how my intentions, I manifested you, Jeff Parker Love, you know, I have a slew of Kevin Walton. These are all my friends that I get to grow with and receive love. And that's really because I was massively self-love queen, right? So it's true. It's true. Just keep cultivating your own garden. I mean, I can mention 3 science-based ways to amp up your love hormone if you want me to right now.
Well, I also want to mention, because these techniques are incredible, and the fact that you have a physical therapy background, you're a pelvic floor specialist. So you've done the work, you've gone to school, you've learned the science behind all of this and why it's so effective. And then you also have you're spiritually inclined. And so you've done work with Dr. Joe Dispenza, with Kevin Walton, you've done Creatorhood. And so you have such a vast array of knowledge at your disposal. And you, from all of this, you've created the Alva method. So can you tell us what the Alva method is? Because it stands for activate love,
Yes.
vibrate abundance. And why and how is that self-love? You said something very, very, very interesting. You said, I will not manifest that conscious partner until I am conscious myself. So it's going back to the self-love, the inner work that we do with ourselves. It shows
Yeah,
up in our
so
lives,
whatever's
right?
coming
As
in. So
relationships,
this is
as the
really cool, and
abundance.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Anything else? Because I'm ready to share here. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to preface the question with that, how for people who are watching this and are learning about self-love, they've never gone down this route before, they're curious about it, things might not be working for them in their life, and they're willing to try something new. How self-love, having that emphasis and that focus on yourself is going to show up in partners, conscious partners, opportunities, abundance in many arenas of our life, not just financial abundance, but also abundance of opportunities, abundance of friendships, healthy relationships. So can you tell us about that, and how you, through the Alpha method, how you help people connect to themselves and help
Yes.
them love themselves better so that
So
they
it's
can
really
vibrate
important for
abundance in their
people
life?
to know that your nature is to be love. That's what you are. Love is what you are. And love is the powerful energy. It's a force of creation. And so we actually are energetic beings, 99.9999% made of energy. Even though it looks like I have skin and hair and all this, if we look under an electron microscope, my cells are vibrating. And so the frequency of my vibration, if it's really fast, that's called high vibration. There's a lot of movement when that happens. So if we go back to the science, love, joy, feeling fulfillment, feeling contentment, that's high vibration. And guilt, shame, fear, that's low vibration. So you're moving much slower. You meet people sometimes and you literally feel like they're weighing you down. And that's because we're meant to be moving in the vibrational frequency of love.
Can I pause you for a moment? Because this is something that I've been sharing lately with my students. It's okay to be in those lower vibrational states as well. And that's part of self-love. Self-love is seeing yourself and meeting yourself wherever you are. So if you woke up today and you were feeling like crap, you felt like there was an elephant standing on your chest, you have anxiety, you feel depressed, it's okay to feel those things too. And in fact, there's this thing that we say in yoga, feel it to heal it. So accepting yourself and loving yourself, part of that is accepting yourself wherever you are. And so when I started down this path of self-love and healing and yoga, at first it was always, I'm striving, my North Star is to always feel good. And if I don't feel good, then that must mean that I'm bad, or that's not good. I should feel good all the time. It's okay to feel those lower vibrational emotions. In fact, it's
Yes,
part
it's
of
just like
self-love.
people
Would you
that
agree
say,
with
I
that?
want to meditate, I want to be mindful, I want to know what it's like to be present. So the path to being that is loving when you notice that you're dwelling on your past relationship, or you're dwelling about your job or your dissatisfactions or what's happening in the world right now. Your self-awareness path is becoming aware of when you're not really there. That is the path. And so it's the same thing with loving, noticing where you are not loving yourself, when you're feeling like crap, because we're the ones that are creating that feeling. So if I say, oh, I don't like my thighs, oh, my belly, my stretch marks, people focus on that. And so that's not going to help you. So then healing it would be to feel, like you said, feeling is healing. Oh man, this feels like crap, so then you say, it's okay, I don't want to touch my thighs, oh my God, how did I let myself go there? So then feeling, and then letting your sounding, toning, allowing that vibration to be expressed. And so this is something else that I teach, because did you know that Singing, just toning, vibrating. So when you do this, all these things stimulate oxytocin. So everyone, every morning, even if you're feeling great or not, you could just shake and come back to your nature, because your nature is that you are a vibrational being made of divine and pure love. You know, we can only be in two different routes in the nervous system. This is where science helps me explain it better. Is we could be in love mode, which is oxytocin, that hormone of love, or fear mode, which is the cortisol hormone. So those are the two different ways that we could be. And then depending on how much you speak kindly to yourself, you can have a level of a higher love hormone frequency. And depending on how much you're stressing yourself out, you're going to have a lower. So if you have negative self-talk, if you don't say nice things to yourself in your head that nobody can see, but you're critical of yourself, like sometimes I take pictures with people and I thought the picture came out great. Like yesterday, it was interesting. Some women yesterday were like, oh, no, delete that, delete that. I saw many people yesterday, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but in my mind, I'm like, wow, we look gorgeous. Like I look gorgeous in every picture, because I'm not looking at my gorgeousness necessarily, unless I'm like in a picture, you know what I mean? It's not something so important to me, because I'm so much more than my hair and my face. Like I really don't consider myself, and maybe I could and be even more gorgeous on the screen, you know, and have more makeup. But to me, I feel I am a vibration. I am a radiance. And I've associated more with my beingness of the energy, because I teach Tantra, so I'm constantly expanding my beautiful love. You know, I get my heart on before I get my heart on. And so these ways of being that I now today have mastered, really feeling this aliveness, because I've inhabited all my parts. But before, I used to believe I was very low energy, tense, stiff, chronic pain. I used to live with chronic tension most of my life. And that's why I created the Alva method, because the psychologist helps you with your mind, the physical therapist with your physical body, the energy healer does Reiki over your body, but then you go home with all these different services. How do you help yourself? What do you do when you're in your bed at night? How do you shift yourself when you're having a fight or a disruption with your loved one? Other than learning strategies from the psychologist, you can shift your heart. You can get your heart on. You can amplify your love with yourself, or you could even use these techniques of it's okay. And so the Alva method is integrating mindset, neuro-linguistic programming. I'm an NLP practitioner. The way that I speak to myself is programming my next seconds, my next moment. And a lot of how we act is because of the way we were raised, birth to 7 years old. So I am aware today. Some people are not aware. They're like, why do I keep attracting toxic relationships? Maybe your parents yelled at you and they loved you and they beat you up. And so don't be surprised if you're attracted to a person that is hurting you. And so we have to have a lot of compassion for ourselves, for whatever we're attracting, because you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And so this is a great way to assess, well,
Right.
How do I think? How do I believe? Because whatever you're experiencing right now and coming to you in your life is just showing you feedback for how you believe and how you vibrate. So I used to believe that men only wanted to have sex with me. I used to believe that men were like a lower, and I feel bad saying this, but it's the truth. I'm not gonna lie. I was raised in a way where you are not ever gonna have a friendship with a man and you're married. You know, this didn't exist in the limited belief systems I had. And you know, my father was not loyal with my mom. I witnessed a man who, as my dad, you know, my father, that would look at the women with cleavage, you know, like voluptuous Latinas walking around. I'd be talking to my father and his eyes would wander, you know, and I'd be like, Dad, you know, so that was kind of creepy for me to be around my father that was looking and like couldn't focus on me because somebody's boobies were walking by, you know. So I made up all these beliefs about men, and then we wonder why that has been a struggle for me in the past. And so many of us are not aware that we are having these dysfunctional patterns replay because that's what we were fed as children. So a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I hate that my dad was like that, or I'm just making this as a story. It's not really true, but so this is the thing. We are given the perfect parents, the perfect friends, the perfect past relationships for us to grow into something more. And so look, I had sexual trauma, and I work with women now in womb healing, and I also work with men. And so I'm grateful that I had all this Catholic guilt, that I'm grateful today that I was powerless and a victim, because I've lived in that density and that contractedness of fear. And now, because of the learning that I've done with oxytocin, Joe Dispenza, all the amazing teachers, and actually doing the deeper work myself, I'm like, oh my God, like my body is free. I'm very connected with my yoni, my sexual energy. It doesn't mean I have sex all day with everyone. So that's another thing is I was just at the beach this morning, and I'm feeling this oneness, and I'm feeling this arousal. I'm turned on to life, and it doesn't require much stimulation because I'm so inhabited in my own body temple. And it's taken me a long time to arrive at this feeling. So if you're not feeling that way, be grateful and just have the awareness that there could be more of a community within your body with your own self. So I'm here. So somebody watching this might be like, I wish I was there. I wish I was like her. And so this is the thing. Be grateful that you've reached me and Lewis. Be grateful that you're here listening to this information, and we both have your back, especially on April 2nd at the Tantra Thai Release Retreat. We are going to love on you. We are going to remind you of the science of love. We're going to have so much fun, and through the different classes that we both offer and share in the community, you have two people that are really working every day to show up in our truths, that we are love.
Can we talk a little bit about that? Because that's something that we do here on Healing Talks, is talk about your journey. And I feel like for me, I've had two spiritual awakenings where my life was completely flipped upside down. Now, it doesn't mean that every now and then I don't have moments that really get me to wake up and see, okay, there's still something for me to heal here in relationships or whatever it might be, through meditation. Or just through patterns that I keep seeing in my own life. But that awareness is key. Where was that moment for you in your life where you had a big awakening and you felt this cannot continue? I need to do something else in order to move forward and not continue to live a life like this.
Well, I'm going to share the most recent
what was that
thing
moment?
because I want everybody to know. Like, I was raised with two parents that basically, I feel watching my parents, they connected, like they call it trauma bonding. So if we haven't worked through our challenges and become sovereign, empowered, connected with our bodies, connected to the love that we are, if we're not loving ourselves, we're going to attract a person that we have to depend on love for. And we get our identity from that person because we don't know who we are. And so I witnessed that type of relationship, and I manifested the exact same type of dynamic with my partner that I was with for a long time. And I learned that I have to be giving everything of myself to be loved. I didn't know that I was loved. My parents got a divorce when I was 14, and my dad never helped my mom out financially. My mom had to get 3 jobs to put us through Catholic school. I had to start working really young age. So I was a workhorse. I worked and worked and worked to help my mom pay the bills. And then I went to school and I did all my homework and I wanted to get A's. And a lot of it was to make my mom happy. Because she's divorced, my dad never helped out. So I felt like I needed to be better. And I thought that I wasn't good enough because my dad left. Where is he? He was with us for all these years and then he's gone. He never really kept in touch. And so I literally thought, I'm not important. I don't matter. I'm not lovable. There's something wrong with me. I used to think all these things in my head. And eventually I manifested relationships where I didn't matter. I manifested relationships where I overgave to try to prove that I'm enough. And I manifested men in romance where I was never the one because I wasn't the one for myself. And I also manifested more of a healer to men in romance that was safe. Because if I met somebody, it's funny because when I met Kevin, I was like, oh my God, I'm scared of him. He's so confident and sexy, you know, and smart. He's like the whole package, you know what I mean? Like you, Lewis, you know, but you're not so intense, like out there like that. But, and like I've met a couple of other men where there's this attraction, you know, and I get scared because, oh my God, like what if I was with somebody who's that amazing on all levels, you know what I mean? So today I don't believe that anymore because I have processed that low self-worth. I feel as though I have processed, I've released unlovability in my body. I can tell you today, it's okay if somebody doesn't like me back. I'm not gonna suicide, like kill myself, or my life is not gonna crumble if somebody's not into me. Like I can honestly tell you that I don't take things personally anymore because I know these laws of attraction. If a person can't see the amazing person you are, it's because they have not felt that way in themselves. And this is so important to share with people. Please don't define your self-esteem or self-worth on how much somebody is able to love you. Look at it as feedback. You get to just deepen intimacy, connection, love, take more time for yourself. Maybe you're meant to go back to the drawing board. This is what happened to me last year. I met somebody I was so excited about, and it wasn't reciprocated, and I did take it personally, and I thank God that I got to go to Greece and process some of that hurtness, and it was so great for me because I also feel to let yourself love people because that's the gift that you get. You get to love people because you get to love people. And what I think I learned from that relationship was I don't have to have an outcome with people that I love. I can just love. Commit. What if we could start just loving and seeing the love in others that we are and make it more about ourselves? And so when we do the Tantra Thai release retreat that last year we did, and we're going to do it, you know, April 2nd again, that day was so loving. We both, and we worked as a team with Cynthia. We're going to have Carla this time. Martin's the chef, you know, raw chef Carla. And I see how when you genuinely care about somebody, because I know you care about me, I know that we are friends and we look out for each other and we support each other. And so you're one of those people in my life where sometimes I just feel so much love. I'm overwhelmed that I almost don't know what to do about it. And I'm grateful that we can hug each other. But even like with my friend Marlene, like sometimes we start to cry because there's so much love. And like yesterday at the Manifestival, I didn't cry actually. It's really, well, maybe I had a couple of like little happy tears, but sometimes I have cried because I'm so in love that I'm feeling so much love that everything that is not love evaporates off my chest. And so this is the power of the love hormone, is it's actually also the release hormone. When you love deeper and you start to feel all those unloved parts that you start to love on, you probably will start to cry, people. So if you can, hang in there and just tell yourself, just breathe actually. Oh, wow. Like anybody that ever comes to have a session with me, and I want to share to everybody, you know, reach out to me if you want to learn more about the bodywork sessions, the sound healing, the mindset sessions that I offer for couples and singles. Sometimes people, they just start to cry because they're like, what's happening to me? What's happening to me? And I'm like, you're having a lovegasm. You know, this is what I tell people. You're overwhelmed with the hormone of love because that's what I'm trained in. And so everything that is not love, everything that you've been holding until that point, it's like air bubbles coming from the bottom of the ocean up. And I call them emotional farts too, because it kind of feels that way sometimes. Like if you've been holding a lot of shame or judgment and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm gonna love on that part of me that judges myself. It's okay. It's okay that I judge myself. My mom used to judge me all the time. Catholic church, all the time judgment. It's okay. Because I was so mad at myself. I'm talking about myself here. It was okay. I was like, wow, I was so judgmental. Like, I didn't even masturbate till I was 37 years old. That's a true story. I never touched my own areas because I thought that was for my husband, or I thought that you're like, you know, nasty or dirty if you touch your genitals for pleasure. This is true, folks. I literally thought, and I was kind of wondering, is God gonna punish me? Or there was so much shame that I had, but then there was this inner voice that was saying, if you're gonna really live a truthful life, you're gonna heal whatever this was that kept you from really being in a great, healthy relationship. That I was in a not so healthy relationship most of my life with myself. So I attracted that in my life. And so something told me after this divorce, get with yourself, woman. It wasn't a really nice voice, but it was more like, get your shit together. You know, what's wrong with you? Why, you know, don't get married again until you really learn how to love yourself. And I have to say, I was persecuting myself a lot. And if anybody's out there Catholic, you know what I'm talking about. It's like you have to punish yourself. You did that wrong, and now you have to suffer. And I did that. And so for me, to learn about pleasure, self-care rituals, massaging myself, that has been a massive, I mean, I would start to cry that I even would make the time to touch myself. And I'm not talking just sexually, just giving myself a little scalp massage, or just noticing how, I think there was a time where maybe I didn't call you back, or something I didn't do, like with my friends, you know, that I just was careless about. I noticed how I'm not hard on myself anymore. I'll call and I'll acknowledge and say, I apologize, you know, I missed our call or whatever that was, but I won't have that chatty Kathy or Debbie Downer inside anymore, because I just say it's okay. Let's get more organized. That's why I hired Ernesto Mandowski. You know, I'm working with him now to get more organized and to get my business more efficiently run, instead of me just being mad at myself that I missed that appointment with my client on the phone. I'm gonna instead turn that into fertilizer so that I can grow, because that's love. So me loving myself is me being patient and kind. Me loving myself is brushing it off, right? And then saying, well, what can I learn from this experience that just happened? Well, how can it benefit me? And then just go into the solutions, or breathe and feel your heart and ask yourself, your higher self, what would you like me to do now? And so we can have this beautiful relationship. And then you're going to meet that person. I can't wait to meet my person. You know, I'm excited because I feel like I'm so ready. And it's fine, you know, whenever it happens, because I'm not in the neediness anymore. That's the cool part, is I could dance with myself. And if someone wants to tag along, that's great. And if not, that's great. And if they're not interested, cool. I love you anyway. I'm just loving because I'm love. It's a really awesome place to be. And wherever you're at, whoever's listening to this, love where you're at. Because most of my life, I was not here in the here and now. Most of my life, I was unworthy, unlovable, like a piece of meat. You know, I just thought I was an object. I wasn't something good enough for a man to just get to know. I thought I had to just have sex really fast, after my marriage, that is, to impress him, you know, or overly massage him or something. And today, I just like want to sit there and be like, I'm the queen, you know, and what does this king want to share with me, and not overly myself on that person.
Yeah, you're always teaching people how to treat you through the way that you treat yourself. And also, it sounds almost harder, but it's actually easier to treat yourself with love, to give yourself that love first, than it is to go out and do all of these things, jump through all these hoops like you were doing, to try to get someone to love you, to get that validation from someone else. You can just have that love right now. You can tap into that feeling, and you do that with the Alva method, through the breathing, the singing, and through the yoni massage.
Healing,
now,
eye gazing, massage,
which we did a lot of last night. We did eye gazing. We held hands.
Feeding exercise. The Tantra Thai release retreat. You guys are gonna OD on love that day. I'm just letting you all know.
Right. Yeah. There's gonna be an ecstatic dance. There's gonna be sound healing. There's going to be Thai massage. There's going to
And
be
acro
Tantra.
yoga on the beach.
It's a whole day. It's optional, just for people. Sometimes people are a little bit hesitant, like, do I have to really get on someone's feet?
Everything is optional.
Definitely acro is
honestly,
another level.
Sometimes people are like, Tantra, what's
Absolutely.
that? You know, so this is where, listen to that part of you that's freaking out that you're having, you know, that's the part I think people love coming to my classes. I do at the Modern Om once a month, the Tantra Massage Workshop and the Intimacy 101. Just want to do a little shout out for Modern Om. I'm so grateful that they allow me to do these workshops. And I'm also going to be doing things at the Center for Higher Self, adding in permaculture, play parties where we're going to be doing things for the earth and combining it with sound healing, doing the Alva method outside on the grass. This is my dream, you know, to really take things in nature. That's why I love working with you, because we're going to be on the beach also for the Tantra Thai Release Retreat. And we can create whatever we wish to create. But look, I wasn't really into nature before the way I am today, because I was so consumed in my story of all this, you're not good enough, you're not lovable. It would suck my life away. I was like a vampire to myself. And so I never noticed the ocean's so beautiful, because I couldn't notice myself being beautiful. Or I didn't realize, oh my God, you know, growing my own plants, because I wasn't growing my own self. And so I see how I'm attracted now to composting. I want to help dirt be more nutrient rich, because I am more rich in my own self. And this is something where we talk about creativity, sexuality, and healing. All of them are interrelated. So when we talk about abundance in the Alva method, activate love, which love is abundance. When you feel that you are enough and you don't overly give or overly try to something, you get to feel your power by just sitting there and being yourself. You feel the richness, the abundance of the love that you are. Even if you don't love yourself 100%, but you're like, I'm going to love on my lazy parts, and I'm going to love on those parts that have been judging in the past. I'm just going to start loving all of me. The shameful me, the angry me, the short-fused me. I'm just going to start loving everything that I've been. You start to experience your wholeness. You're no longer shaming yourself and pushing yourself away from yourself. And so you start to attract this wholeness, this richness, this totality of who you are. That's why you start to be more abundant. And then somebody gives you a tip, somebody gives you a gift, because you've started to accept your gifts of whatever that was that you think was not a gift. You shaming yourself actually is a gift that's going to teach you how to love yourself, how to accept yourself, how to not hide yourself. You not accepting yourself is going to give you a path to discovering more acceptance, letting go of judgment. And so your darkness or your lower vibration, whatever however you want to call it, your unclaimed parts or disassociated parts are actually happening to teach you how to accept and love and invite and nurture more yourself. So how cool would it be if you're like, I'm anxious. Yay! I get to practice coming into the present moment and diverting from my anxious thoughts that are causing my anxiety into just breathing or smelling an essential oil. And this is where I want to mention ylang ylang. This is the inner child healer oil. When you were talking about the different ways of loving ourselves, a big one is, do you love your childhood? And so reach out to me, folks. And so I just want to mention, essential oils is another way that you can amp up your oxytocin. Oils like ylang ylang, all of the heart opening oils like geranium, jasmine. If you think about when you smell a rose, usually it doesn't make you angry. And so you can use essential oils, you can use nature. Just going outside in nature raises your oxytocin, because really being in nature is where we can be mostly the richness of our human experience, because we are nature. We're breathing oxygen, we're giving CO2, we're making love all the time to nature. And I really think this is what we're designed to be. You know, it's just about getting back in alignment. So Yeah, of course.
Can I share a story really quick about nature? So I also have had a big eye-opening experience in nature. And it was after my first ayahuasca experience. I was walking around on Mother Earth. I was walking around the grass, and Mother Earth, right? It's the all right, I want to wait till Michelle sits
Yeah, my,
down.
my
And
phone is overheated because of the, I
wait.
guess, the sun where it was. So I'm just gonna relax here. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yes. So going back to my story, I had this incredible realization that I was walking around and I saw all the different textures that you see in nature. You know, it was grassy on one side and then there was rocks on the other side. It was flat on one side and then it would have a little bit of a slope on the other side. And that to me was the full representation of the body and embracing and loving all parts of my body. Not every part of my body is going to be chiseled and perfect, but connecting to nature in that way and being in the medicine and having that insight, I'm so grateful for that because it's allowed me to love myself more and accept all parts of myself because I am nature. I am that. And nature is beautiful. I don't think anyone here would say that nature is ugly. Nature is beautiful and nature inspires us in so many ways. And we are that. We are nature. And so if we can love and go out in nature and really just connect to the ground, whether it's by taking a permaculture class or just walking around in nature, walking barefoot, or just going to the beach and just reveling in the beauty of a sunrise or a sunset, or just looking out into the water and really accepting that and seeing that as yourself, I think that's a great way to start loving yourself and start to connect to yourself better. You can do it through essential oils. You can do it through meditation. I think meditation for me and not just going into meditation and feeling like I have to stop all of my thoughts. That's not what meditation is. I have a lot of people who do the soul tribe and they're very resistant to meditation because they feel like they have to do it a certain way. And it's not about that. Meditation is about seeing yourself exactly where you are, exactly as you are, feeling all of those emotions like we were talking about earlier without judgment and coming from a place of understanding. And for me, that's been such a self-love practice.
Yes, and so.
Now, I want to say why it's important for us to do all of these self-love practices. It's because we take the power back. We're not like earlier, we're not giving away our peace, our freedom, our happiness to another person because whenever we rely on someone for love, we're also giving them the keys to our happiness. We're basically giving our freedom over to that person and we're diminishing ourselves and we're giving our power to someone else. When we already are, like you were saying in the beginning, we already are love. The love is already
We're
inside
just
of
not
us. You
taught
can
in
feel it right
school.
now.
And our
We're not
parents, a lot
exactly.
of our
That's what
parents, I really believe this. How many people do you know? You guys can put a number. How many couples do you know that love each other? They're really into each other. I think years back, a lot of us, and even now, I mean, some people are with each other just because of financial. How many people really know themselves to be able to choose an authentic partner? And it's interesting because I kept saying to people, I'm dating myself. And I have a couple of people have kind of made fun of me saying, Michelle, I have a boyfriend and I'm still working on myself. And like, how much more do you have to work on yourself? But I have this curiosity because I have a standard of what I want my relationship to be like. And I want it to be honest. I want it to be so loving where it's okay if he doesn't want to come with me to an event one day, or maybe he's not interested in something that I'm interested in, and I can't wait for that day where I'm just like, cool, I love that, I love how you are, regardless, you don't have to like everything. And that's another thing I feel that is so important to mention, how even with your own self, at times you may not be excited with yourself about certain things. And so we just get to strengthen our patterns and create new patterns everything is a pattern. Everything is a program. We're doing it anyway. So we can just restructure how we've been cultivating our garden, and we don't have to get angry at ourselves. This has helped me so much because I used to be so hard on myself, but that's why I have 50 million certifications, because I was like, I got to take Dr. Joe Dispenza's course, and I got to do Creatorhood 3 times, because the first time it blew my mind, and my mind was like, blah, 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 and I wanted to make sure that I understood the content. And so I invested in myself. I was like, screw dating. I want to date myself, like I want to know what it's like to have an amazing relationship with myself. And so it's been quite a journey.
So let's talk about the people who have had that experience of handing over the power of their love, of their happiness, of their freedom to someone else, giving to that person in expectation of them receiving that love that they already out of them. And this is why the first week of the Soul Tribe is dedicated, and really everything that we do in the Soul Tribe and in yoga starts with that foundation of self-love, because from there everything builds. If you don't have self-love, you're never going to be in alignment or even know what your truth is. You're never going to go out and find your purpose in life. You're never going to give yourself the time of day to live a life that's purposeful. All of these things build off of self-love. Everything that we do starts with us. Every relationship that we have starts with us. I think we've really driven that message home. Now let's talk about people who have given their trust over to someone who doesn't deserve their trust, who doesn't deserve their love, and they've hurt them. They've left a negative imprint in their life, and it's showing up, it's manifesting in their body, or it's something that they're carrying in their womb. I want to talk about the womb specifically because, like I said at the beginning of the talk, it's something I found out about recently, and there's a lot of women that are here on our talk right now, and I want to talk about what is the womb for people who I'm pretty sure that most of us carry one, even men have one, and we don't even know it some of the times, and we're acting out in response to that womb, and we're carrying it with us into every single relationship that we have. And so let's talk about that, because I really want to talk about trauma healing, because I know that's the work that you're also into.
It's interesting because we all came from our mother's womb, all of us, no matter what. We do know that for a fact. And how our mothers were before conception, during the pregnancy, our mom's beliefs about there's birth trauma. I work with women healing their own birth trauma. That means, was the birth of you traumatizing for your mother, for yourself? Like, I was born breech, and my mom said she almost died having me, and I was born 2 weeks late. And so when I gave birth to my daughter, I manifested a similar experience where she was 2 weeks late, and I felt like I was going to die. And it's just amazing how this is a fascinating part of a woman's life or a man's life. And some people literally, I think, have chosen not to have children because of how traumatizing their birth experience was. And so it's important for us to do an inventory. And this is what I do with the Alva method. The first session is really an assessment. What's my history? So how did I feel about my birth? What were the stories told by my mom or my grandma? What is the lineage in birth? Some moms, they might have given birth at home, and so did the grandma and the great grandma, and they're champions. So those women are going to be like, I want to have a child. I want to have 4 kids, because birth they associate with a positive experience. But then there's women that have been raised very religiously, where you only have sex for like when you're married and to have babies, depending on the beliefs. And then they might be really sexual people, and they're like, oh my God, I love sex, but I'm not allowed. And so women hold shame. We hold emotions in our bodies. And if you have a lot of menstrual cramps and you're a woman, probably there's some unprocessed guilt or shame related to your feminine sexuality. Sometimes women, they love sex, but they don't want to say that because maybe they're a certain religion. You're not supposed to be sexual as a woman. But listen, folks, if you want to be fertile, be horny, love sex, say that you love sex. That's going to help your fertility. Orgasm stimulates, whole body orgasm stimulates especially healing, creativity, and your sexual energy is more activated and you're going to experience more the joy. The sexual energy, orgasmic energy, is also the joy energy. And so I think a lot of us have a lot of taboo with sex, a lot of taboo about our bodies. And if women have had sexual trauma, which is 1 out of every 4 women in the United States, you know, that's a statistic, have had some type of sexual trauma. So when we have trauma, there's this fear component. We fight, we flee, or we freeze, and we dissociate to protect ourselves. So then if a woman hasn't done the deeper healing, she's probably going to hold some tension. Her vagina literally is smooth muscle. So when a woman has sex, maybe for the first time, and she didn't even know, like this is what happened to me. I didn't really know what I was getting into, but that teenager was on top of my body. Nobody ever told me about sex. And it was a very taboo thing you're supposed to do when you're married. So I was only 14, and in that moment I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I couldn't, I just froze. And I was devastated because I thought no man is gonna want me because I'm not a virgin. The man that I'm supposed to marry in the future, and this was all my own little 14-year-old beliefs as a Catholic raised girl that went to Catholic school. And I was so ashamed. I didn't want anybody to know what happened to me. And so I acted like I was cool, acted like everything was okay. And I dissociated, I lost myself. I was no longer able to be present. And so being soul-guided, heart-guided person means that I'm here. I'm feeling everything. But I wasn't that person. And so I learned how to lie to myself. Your feelings don't matter, Michelle. Just be a good girl, make them happy. I learned to not love myself. So I tensed up and I manifested very, very, very tense. I mean, my menstrual clamps were really painful every month. I manifested a lot of tension down there. And then when I did have sex with future partners, it was always painful. So I manifested a very tense, contracted vagina. And some women literally say to me, Michelle, I think his penis is too big. You know, my husband's, he's too big for me. And it's his fault. But meanwhile, a baby's head can pass through there, folks. So I tend to, you know, wonder how tense are the smooth muscles of your vaginal walls. And that's where the work I do, my background as a pelvic floor physical therapist, there's a lot of women that are walking around with trigger points. If anybody's ever had like a painful little spot in your neck from being on the computer for too long, or in your shoulder or low back pain, you know how it's chronic for some people? Well, we develop chronic back pain in the vagina muscles inside. And so I'm holding the phone at the same time, but I wish I could put my finger in my hand. And if you were to finger yourself for the ladies, you would feel the walls around. Or for men, you know, I mean, it would be cool to kind of have a man that knows what he's doing, and he could actually notice if a woman is really tense or if she's very supple. So I've worked with a lot of different women's pelvic floors and vaginas, and I can tell you folks, most women, I mean, of course they're coming to see me for a reason. Women can literally hold balls of tension where it's so hard that it feels like, you know how when you have a ingrown hair and it's like welled up and it feels like you pass your finger through it, or like a little zit. Let me see if I feel one. Not here, but let's just pretend that I did have one. And it's hard though, because it's fascia. The fascia tightens. And a lot of women, that's why you're having painful sex, because you have trigger points of pain from trapped tension, from trapped traumas, that your body went into freeze mode, tensed up mode, protection mode. So if you're having sex with someone that you're not really excited about, ladies, if you're staying in a relationship because it's convenient and you think it's okay, it's not okay. Your body's not going to let you lie to yourself. That's the amazing part. It is our birthright to be authentic and honest and truthful. And if we lie, your body keeps a score. Your body doesn't allow you to lie to yourself. And I see this all the time, how people are really not that excited about their partner. They're not excited about themselves. You know, it's not your partner's fault if you're not having a great sex life. you get to take responsibility, learn Tantra with me. I'd love to share with you deeper connection videos for couples, and I have a whole Yoni Power online program. No matter where you are in the world, I made these meditations live. I'm touching my vagina, my vulva, my cervix during the meditations. I literally prayed before the meditations, and I have release your root, yoni massage, and I set the intention that whoever listens to this is gonna benefit the most. And then I let myself go and I guided. I have a sexual anatomy class that I teach, how to find your G-spot. I think it's important for women also, I have to say, if you like men, learn how to find this prostate. Let me teach you, because that's a woman's G-spot on a man, and that innervates the vagus nerve, which is a deep releasing, healing nerve that innervates the whole body, all your organs. And so the more you orgasm from a deeper orgasm, from penetration, from having that G-spot massaged, the men, like, I wish every man I could teach about his prostate. Some men are like, oh, nothing's going in that booty, you know, or even from the outside, behind your testicles, in front of your anus, you can locate, you can find your G-spot for a man, the prostate, from the outside. And so imagine a woman licking her partner at his prostate, or toning. You can hum in behind the testicles, in front of the anus, that spot, humming up a man's, it goes up this Ren 1, this channel of energy to the pineal gland. And so you can have really beautiful, healing, sexy, activating feelings, which you can learn how to massage your partner and stimulate that vagus nerve. And that is the one that is also associated with radical healing. So why not make love in a way that also helps to heal whatever that is? And it also is the hormone that helps us to process emotions. It helps to cleanse the organs. So you know how people get acupuncture and needles get put into your body to help the meridians flow? The acupuncturist, ding, he vibrates the needle. And so you can literally vibrate into parts of the sexual body and for pleasure. And we can use this pleasure system to help activate the healing system. That's the kind of medicine I would like to get a doctorate degree on. So people technically can release pain. They can release tension in the whole body through orgasm, whole body orgasm, or just learning how to touch your prostate, breathe up your spine, feel some type of aliveness coming in. Ladies to your G-spot, men to your prostate. And sometimes women are like, oh, I want him to learn that for me, you know, for her G-spot. But I really feel there's something magical that happens when a woman learns how to massage herself, how to pleasure herself, how to orgasm and surrender to her orgasm herself, so that you're not depending on your partner to get you to come. You know, when women are like, you know, he can't get me to come, Michelle. He can't get me to come. I'm like, well, it's not actually his responsibility. And then he'll say, well, what do you mean? I love making her come. And so this is the part where we're confused. A woman that cannot orgasm because she's wounded, she's had an abortion, 3 abortions maybe, or an STD, or chronic yeast infections, chronic abuse from her stepdad when she was a child. If she's holding on to all that baggage, you could be a freaking Tantra god, and that woman is not going to be able to orgasm because she's not letting herself go. And so this is where really coming from the heart, practicing Tantra, Thai massage, you know, that's a wonderful way to let go of those emotions. There are so many different ways that we can talk, you know, at the Tantra Thai Release Retreat. We are going to cover that, but also yoni massage. You know, I work with women, I teach them how to facilitate, and we're actually going to do that at once a month. I offer yoni love retreats where women gather and learn how to massage their own vagina live. So it's incredible, the healing that happens in the room. I didn't know I was going to be doing these type of events, but this is what people want. They want to learn, where is my G-spot? I want to make sure I know where it is, and then why do I even have to know about it? What about my sexual anatomy? And then how do I heal my woundedness in my womb? So we do womb healing meditation. I also talk about using doTERRA essential oils in womb healing and processing emotions, sound healing, toning, singing. The throat is directly connected, the voice, with your yoni, with your sexual parts. So the more you sing, you're actually relaxing your pelvic floor. And belly dance. Belly dance is another part of this work where I myself started belly dancing. I was curious about it. This is when Shakira came out like 20 years ago or something. And I was like, oh my God, I'm holding so much in my tummy. I was very self-conscious, and I was even like 20 pounds lighter. Well, maybe more than that, actually. Maybe like 30 pounds lighter. I was super thin, and I was so self-conscious because I felt so contracted emotionally that for me to show my body meant I'm showing myself, and I was hiding. So it's really amazing how the more we feel, that's why self-massage is so beautiful. I have a lot of meditations on my YouTube channel, Michelle Alva TV, for people to learn how to touch themselves.
Self-love.
Yeah.
Self-love is
Self-acceptance.
the key. Self-love. Let's start with
self-love.
self-love.
Yeah.
Self-acceptance, getting to know yourself better,
Touching yourself.
so that then we can come into a relationship that's conscious and loving, that we're not giving our power over to the person that we're with. We're not with them in order to receive, but we're with them because we are whole, embodied, complete, loving ourselves, and that person is there to meet us there. And I love what you said about you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if you're attracting all these toxic relationships, you're attracting people who aren't meeting you where you want to be met at. Where are you not meeting yourself where you want to be met at? Where are you not showing yourself love? Where haven't you healed yet? Because like I started the healing talk, every situation in your life, every moment in your life is a mirror for you. It's getting you to see yourself better. And so if people are revealing something to you, pay attention to that. That's where the awareness comes into play. And we have a lot of tools, a lot of awareness tools. We have breath work. We have the E3 breath that you do in the Alva method. We have meditation.
Self-massage, singing,
we have
dancing.
Self-love massage. Self-love massage.
Looking in the mirror and just looking at your eyes. When was the last time you just looked at someone and felt? You know, when we do the eye gazing, we're actually only able to see in another person to the extent that we are open to seeing ourselves. I do these eye gazing, and I know you do this too in your workshops, where people start to laugh or they look away, or, you know, we distract ourselves, it's being silly. But those are the people that are having a hard time really seeing themselves. And so then we just say, it's okay, this is uncomfortable for me, it's okay that I just want to run out of this room. And so in my Tantra classes, we actually voice out the uncomfortableness. So this is another part to love, is to love when you feel uncomfortable, loving yourself through the uncomfortableness. So be open to feeling uncomfortable. You don't have to always be comfortable. Say something to somebody, even if you think you'll be rejected. Say something if it's coming up for you. Like I offered feedback on someone recently. They didn't necessarily ask me for it, but I felt I wanted to share something, and that person knows I love them. And so I want to have friends that are going to call me out on my shit. If I'm veering and something they're seeing that is not serving me, I want to have those type of friends that I can have that uncomfortable conversation comfortably. That's love. That is love. Yeah. But if you don't want to open up and share what's coming up, that is not love. A person that you really love, you're going to go there. You're going to go that extra mile. You're going to be in the uncomfortableness together. And it's a decision that you make. It's not, oh my God, you know, our Jupiter is in Venus together, or, you know, we're twin flames, or we have the same, I don't know, hair color. It's not that. It's actually, I'm freaking scared, and it's okay because I fucking love that person. I love myself so much that I don't give a shit. I'm just going to love, and I'm going to say the truth, and that's what I stand for, the truth. That's a hot, sexy relationship, trust me. With yourself, you know, and maybe with that person, but regardless, you're going to be happy with yourself.
It all starts with us. So, I mean, there's so much to unpack here. As you who have listened to us today can already tell, Michelle has a wealth of knowledge She literally does have 50 degrees in just about everything.
Permaculture's next.
She has a medical background, a spiritual background.
Design,
She's getting certified permaculture now. So and so we can be on here for
just come to the retreat, everybody. Click on that link.
So if you want to get to know us better, if you want to get to know about my Thai bodywork offerings, if you want to get to know about the Soul Tribe, if you want to get to know about my yoga classes, I also do acro yoga, which is something that we're going to offer optionally as a part of the Tantra Thai Release Retreat. Or you want to get to know Michelle better, please follow Michelle now if you haven't done so yet. Reach out to her. She's always she always responds back either within a day or 2 days. And you definitely want to have Michelle as a friend, someone that you get to know. I am so grateful. You have enriched my life so much.
You've enriched my life.
Oh, I am so.
You know, I would love to finish off with just saying, for anybody that is struggling with opening up and diving deeper, book a session with Louis for the Thai bodywork and the acro yoga, and come to the retreat, please, because that helped me to open up more to loving myself. I think my leg was like straight up and you were bending my hip, and I was like, oh my God, this is like uncomfortable in a way because he doesn't know me that well, you know? And I just saw myself, how I blocked myself. I put myself in a box because, I mean, I wasn't loyal in the last relationship that I had, and I cheated on my ex. And I really persecuted myself, and I told myself, like, you're bad. And the reason why I did that was because I really wasn't honest with myself. I didn't really want to be monogamous and committed with that person. It was shortly after my divorce, and I was lying to myself. Imagine me saying to a man, like, I want to date around. I want to know what it's like to have sex with other people. Like, I've been with same person for 20 years. But that would have been me saying the truth and being vulnerable. So instead, I was like, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend. But I really wasn't ready for that. And then I was traumatized being somebody's girlfriend because all the hurtness that I associated with relationship. And so the Thai body work lets a lot of stuff come up because you're being vulnerable. You can't lie when you're laying there, and Louis is so safe and loving and peaceful in the music. And so people, gift yourself, gift your partner, do a couples Thai bodywork, you know, have people come to your home because Louis travels. And that, I think it was 2 years ago that we started, or a year and a half. I have to say that brought another level of intimacy with myself, because honestly, Louis, I never had a man work on me like that. That's how much I was wanting to be in control. So you're the first person that I've actually, and honestly, I mean, I don't really get a lot of sessions like that. And maybe I think I am going to book another session to like help me open even more, right? Because I'm so used to being the teacher, the guide. I'm comfortable over here, right? So those sessions with you, you hold such a pure, loving space that you can't buy that. You can't purchase that somewhere. That's why, you know, I'm so happy about the Tantra Thai Release Retreat April 2nd, because this quality of purity that we bring is so healing. It's so much fun, and it's so powerful. And I just can't wait for that day. It's going to be amazing on April 2nd, Tantra Thai Release Retreat. Yeah. I love you too.
So I want to thank everyone for their participation. I know we had some questions, but we went over today by 15 minutes. So I am going to ask that everyone share their questions with either Michelle or myself. DM us. We're going to be around a little bit after the talk. I'm going to be sharing this talk once it's no longer live, and I'm going to be tagging you in it. So please make sure to follow Michelle if you haven't done so yet. If you have any questions that we didn't get to answer during the healing talk, reach out to Michelle or myself, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Lots of love to you.
I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you in my life.
Yes. Bye. Love you all. Peace.
Everyone.